we have been noticing there's several articles, the 5 top trends, 10 top trends, and all of a sudden analytics is scorchingly hot. And it's not just analytics, but it's also LMS analytics, how to get into the back end and get some of this really important data that, that we can get for students and their habits in the LMS. So what we have done is put together 2 very important speakers. We have Ed Johnson, who comes from our Instructional Design Technology Department. He is our analytics guru. And Brian Engel is the new director of a new department that we have under the provost office that shows you just how important analytics has become with, here at Regis. So I'm going to turn it over to them. Thanks. Yeah, it's hot. You should start to see the red flashing.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Like Jeff said, I'm Brian Engel, Director of University Analytics and Reporting. I think this is week 6 or 7 for me, so I'm relatively new in the position. I have been here at Regis for about 14 years. Most of those have been in admissions, but I've been related to the data in one way or the other almost my entire time at Regis, whether it was overseeing the operations, overseeing the processes within admissions, and now I'm pretty excited about this new role in University Analytics and Reporting. So the plan today would be to So just as a quick overview, my piece of the presentation will be to give you a little bit of the brief history of institutional analytics and data analytics at Regis, where we are today, and then where we want to get to with our data analytics. And then that ties really well into some synergies that we see with instructional design around some of the data and analysis. So hopefully some of this is relevant for you. So data analytics then at Regis. So in 2011, you can see here in our strategic plan, leadership identified pretty early on that data is an important asset that we need to really invest in the data and analytics at Regis. So starting in 2011, the Institutional Analytics and Research Department was developed. Only had 3 staff at the time, so we had a director, a business analyst, and a business intelligence developer. Probably a little understaffed for where we are now with the growth in data and the veracity of the data. But at the time, it was actually a pretty good start. The overall purpose and what the university was finding is that data was decentralized here at Regis originally. So data coordinators were in each of the departments across the university, writing their own reports, using different methodologies to pull their reports. And those reports were kind of bubbling up to managers, bubbling up to the executives, and there was conflicting data a lot of times. So one of the main purposes of the institutional analytics and research was the consistent data, really to centralize the data, especially for internal and external reporting. So all of the federal reporting, so IPED, state reporting with CERDs, all of the external surveys that we need to fill out, that was really going to be housed within the newly developed institutional analytics and research. The other thing that came out of that, not only the people in the development of the department, but the technology. So our business intelligence system is built on the Microsoft suite of business intelligence, so SQL reporting services, the SSIS, the analysis services, we have access to all of those. And so in February 2013, that was really the advent of that technology. So beyond the people and the technology, the one key piece, and really laid the platform for the basis for where we are today, is the data governance program. Regis haven't yet had a data governance program. We were talking a couple years back, 2011, 2013. Over the last few years, we've really developed that data governance program. And what that looks like at Regis, we actually have data custodians, which I'm not crazy about the term there, but those are the people that are really close to the data. So they're working in the data on a daily basis. They're working with either inputting the data, they're cleaning the data, which I guess is where the custodian term comes in.
Curation.
Data curators. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're really working with data on a day-to-day basis. That group meets on a weekly basis. And then there's also a data stewards group, which are typically managers of a data area. So they either have direct reports that are data custodians or report writers. And then the data stewards are really the voting body within data governance. So the data custodians will talk about issues on a weekly basis, anything related to the data, new fields, new values that need to be entered, related to our ERP system or any of the systems within the university. And then they'll also put together the proposals. If there are any proposals for changes, that gets sent up to the data stewards. The data stewards then vote to approve or decline or rewrite the proposal. So this was a really important piece. So again, it wasn't just about the technology and putting the people in place, but we also had to have a good data governance process in place, or else the technology is going to mean nothing. A couple of the other things that the data governance has done is really put together a list of standard definitions. So much of what we've done in the past was sitting in people's heads or maybe not documented at the university level. So the documentation and the standard university data definitions were really important so that all of those report writers were really doing things in the same way. So like I said, I think this, the history of where we've been over the last few years really got us in a good position to really do some of the things we want to get to. And that's some of the advanced analytics. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. So where we are today, like I said, about 6 or 7 weeks into the job, but we do have a new name. We're University Analytics and Reporting. We've grown a little bit. So from the original 3 staff, we're up to 7 staff, which includes me. We've got 3 data analysts. We also have 2 developers and a senior data analyst, which still reports directly to the provost. So while she's not directly in our group, she's in our same office and we work really closely with her. So I think with the staffing, we now are in a good spot to really get to some more of that advanced analytics. So our business intelligence system right now has grown slowly. Originally, we contracted with a company called Incisive Analytics to help us really get a jump start on developing the technology. Incisive, basically, the plan was sort of a train-the-trainer type model. So they kind of got us started on developing our business intelligence system. They developed one of the cubes, and then we were going to take it from there and build out the rest. Right now, we're still really student-focused. We have student term outcomes, academic program participation, academic program activity. So those are really around course activity, registration. We also have admissions, degrees awarded, and we did have a chance to build out the financial aid. We've also, one of the things the university hasn't really had is we now have a centralized report request process. So we've actually developed a report request form that comes in through our office. We can then either filter those and send them out to report writers within the data custodians group, or we can actually handle those report requests on our own with our analysts. So just depends on the content of the request. We're working with the schools and colleges to develop or find positions for data coordinators, where the data coordinators can take on some more of the operational reporting or even some of the descriptive reporting, and then we can freeze up a little bit more of our time with our analysts to do some more of the analysis piece. So that's essentially the plan, and that's why the ticketing system is really important. We filter in the requests, we can get them out to the people that can answer them, or we answer them. We've also developed some web reports. The web reports are basically connected directly to our business intelligence system. And I can actually, maybe I can pull those up. So the web reports that we've developed, they're really around the idea of data transparency. One of the issues I think at Regis, at least historically, has been getting the data to the people in a timely fashion. So one of the things that we're looking to do beyond the request process, which can take some time, obviously the person has to put in the request, we filter the request, come up with a report and send it out. That can take a couple weeks. The other idea that we're doing is improving our data transparency in a few different ways. One of them is our web reports. Web reports are actually accessible to any of the faculty and staff. You saw I had to log in, so it is behind the login. But it's just some basic information so that people can maybe answer some of those requests that maybe it's just like, how many students do we have in the fall? How many undergraduate students do we have in the fall? How many full or part-time students do we have in the fall? So the idea behind the web reports, like I said, the real goal is data transparency, making data available to the wider university in a more timely fashion. So this is one example of one of the web reports that we actually have out there. Beyond just the tables, we can do some basic visualizations with our web reports. Pull one up here. So it'll take a second to load here. So some pretty basic visualizations. One of the things that is on our roadmap too is we need to upgrade to SQL 2016, which will allow us to improve what I think is not the best user interface here. Basically give this page a little bit of a facelift. But we do have, like I said, with the business intelligence system, we have an opportunity to do a little bit of visualizations. And while this isn't interactive, you can actually, if you saw the selections there I made, you can actually select and filter what you want to see in the report. So again, just one avenue for us to get the data out there more timely around the idea of data transparency. So the other thing that we're doing, we're also using Power BI. Power BI is a Microsoft product, so it plays really nicely, or should. Not all Microsoft products play nicely, but it plays nicely, at least with our business intelligence system. gives us a little bit of flexibility. It's a relatively young product, I guess, in terms of a visualization tool. You've probably heard of Tableau. They've been out there for a while. There's a lot of other newcomers, but Power BI, only a couple years old. The one nice thing about that is they're really improving the product on a monthly basis. So there's always new releases, new features every month that they're adding. The way we're using Power BI is really for internal dashboards at this point. The other nice thing about Power BI is that it connects to our Active Directory. So people can actually just use their Regis login and password to access this. You'll see I'll actually jump over from the Power BI site. It'll redirect me over to the Regis Power BI or Microsoft site. And we'll log in, hopefully. But the way we're using Power BI right now is more for internal dashboards. So the web reports are available to anyone at the university. Power BI and the dashboards that I'm going to show you are really more department focused. So the one I'll kind of pick on, because I've spent so much time in admissions, I'll pull up the admissions dashboard that they're using and show you a few of the things that we're doing there. Yeah, I won't show that. So we might not have the visuals on the Power BI dashboard. Not sure what language I've never seen it before. Let's try one more time. So anyway, just envision these dashboards. They're very visual appealing. The few things that we've learned with the dashboards is when you're trying to make them visually appealing, you want to think about a few things. One thing you want to always think about is the context of the report. As an example, oftentimes when we're doing a visualization, we'll try and offer context in year-over-year data. So for admissions, if we're doing new enrollments or applications, we'll show, okay, what was it last year? What was it this year? Then you have a little bit of context of, okay, well, how are we really doing year over year or term over term? Or with admissions, they have specific goals for enrollment. So percent to goal or showing a dial for your for where you are. One of the things we also try to do to even add to percent to goal, we have kind of a countdown ticker that shows how many weeks are left in that fiscal year. So then they actually have a sense, okay, I'm 50% to goal right now, but I've only got 2 weeks left. Well, there's your context. You know, you don't want to be at 50% with only 2 weeks left. Now, if I'm at 95% and I've got, 3 or 4 weeks left, you get a little bit of context there. So that's how we've done that in a few of the admissions reports. The other thing that we've done is made sure that we have consistency in the look and feel of the reports. So we use the brand standards. So we're using the Regis colors of blue and yellow in all of our graphs. So that if one analyst creates a visualization, we also have a very similar look and feel when another analyst is completing the visualization. So Those are a couple things to keep in mind when you're creating those visualizations. Yeah, and like I said, Power BI has worked really well for us, although I don't know why it's working right now. But the nice thing is it's a fairly affordable option. You can actually get Power BI for free. Power users, I think it's only, the public option is only $10 per month per user. Still not a very big cost. And then the education discount actually brings that down a little bit. So it's an accessible product for a lot of us. We probably have small budgets. So that's one nice thing. Like I said, it works really well with, typically works really well with our products, and it offers a lot of flexibility too. One of the things you can do with Power BI is you can drop in data sets in a number of different ways. So you just have an Excel file of your data set. It's really easy to connect to. You can also make SQL connections. Power BI also has set up some dashboards for app connections. So one of the connections that we have, we worked with our marketing unit, Marcom, and got the login to the website. There's already a Google Analytics connection. Plug in the login password, and you have a dashboard right away for Google Analytics. You don't even, I mean, you can still connect to the data set and refine the dashboard, make your own charts, but without any work other than a login and password and that connection, you've already got a working dashboard within Google Analytics and the Power BI dashboard. So that's also pretty cool. So what's next? We've got a number of goals, and we've got some things to work on, but I'll talk about just a few of them. One of them, again, talking more about the data transparency, is getting a presence on Regis.edu. That's not groundbreaking. You'll see a lot of institutional research offices and a lot of universities have a web presence. I don't know that Regis has ever had that since I've been here, which is odd. So that's one of the goals. We're developing some content there. We want to continue to build out what we already have in our business intelligence system. So like I said, it's really student focused right now, but we want to extend that to the finance side, which hits finance, student accounts. That is a really big build. It's taken us quite a while to get there, but we're working towards that. Admissions, we need to rework our admissions area in business intelligence, mainly because they're going to be upgrading their CRM system, and it's built on Microsoft Dynamics, and it's changing really that admissions build altogether. They're using a different entity in the CRM, and it's a whole rework. So that's on our blueprint too. Beyond that, we also want to connect to other data sets. There's a lot of great data across the university that we're not capitalizing on right now. Most of the data that we have in our system is really driven from Colleague, our ERP system, or our CRM. So that's really what's feeding the guts, really, of our business intelligence. But there are data sets that we haven't touched on yet. So Career Services, as an example, does a survey of the alumni every year and gets some really good data about what are our alumni making in terms of salary, and where are they working, and how successful are they. That's something that we can really, I think, capitalize on, and we have plans to kind of connect that. The LMS data we've kind of talked about a little bit, working with instructional design and technology to make sure that what we connect can really feed some more of that analysis. Our provost right now is one of her main initiatives is really student success. Now that we're all kind of under the umbrella of the provost, student success is going to be a big factor. So we want to really work towards that student success. What does that mean? That with the LMS data, we'll be looking at maybe the number of logins, along with their grade information, which we actually have in the system, but some of the things that we don't have, number of logins, or how much they participated in the class. those kinds of pieces of the information can really complete the puzzle, especially when you're talking about student success and retention and graduation. And then the last bullet point there is really about where we want to get to is predictive modeling. And we've already kind of started on that. I'll show you here now. If you want to steal this regression, go ahead, because it's not yet tested. So have at it. Let me know how the results go. But this is our first foray really into working on some predictive modeling. Essentially what we've done is we're trying to predict our 17 fall freshman class. We've talked to admissions, we've talked to enrollment management, we've identified a number of factors that we think might predict whether or not they're going to be coming and enrolling in as a freshman in the fall. What we found is interesting. After we did a factor analysis, those that are listed there on the bottom of the sheet, high school GPA, high school rank, composite scores, so ACT, SAT, the ethnicity of the student, whether or not they were a legacy, so did they have any parents or aunts and uncles that came here, their distance from campus, residence state, gender, first gen, if they were first gen or not, or religion. None of those factors were significant when we ran our model. The things that were are there in that equation. So with the FAFSA, you can actually identify your top, I think it's up to 10 schools. So we found that if we were listed, if Regis was listed in FAFSA position 1, that was a pretty good predictor. That makes sense. Did they visit campus? That again, another good predictor. High school types, so we grouped the high school types on public, private. I think we looked at Catholic and even Jesuit because of who we are. So that was a bit of a predictor where they went to high school. The housing desired is a strange one, only because freshmen are required to be here on campus. You'll see that that's actually a negative correlation. So if they said, yes, I'm interested in housing, they were less likely to come. Like I said, we're still looking into this a little bit more. That one, we think it's more of a symptom of the data. So many people already say they want to live on campus. Is that really kind of giving us a false significance in that area? So we're kind of looking at that. Some of the tools that we've used are tools that are either licensed at the university, so we're using SPSS statistics to kind of find some of those factors. RapidMiner is a free user interface that you can really do some pretty cool modeling in. We're also looking at Rapid Insight right now. We have a free trial with them. That is a licensed product, relatively inexpensive and accessible for analysts to really get up and running and predict very quickly, because it takes the statistics, really does it in the background, and it will identify the factors, but then also build your model, and you can actually do it automatically. So as long as you have a clean data set to feed it into, drop it in there, you hit, push a button, say, go ahead and build that, run the statistics, and it'll actually give you the model. So of them that we're investigating right now, and we've kind of run them in all three, so we've got some conflicting models. And while we're testing out Rapid Insight, we're trying to check the validity of the model and see if it's see how well it's predicting. Again, some of the free tools that we found. So this is kind of the fun stuff, I think, for me, and that's where we want to move to. Less of the predictive, or I'm sorry, less of the descriptive reporting, and getting into more of the predictive and even prescriptive reporting. So like I said, our provost is really interested in student success. So that'll be the next kind of predictive model that we work towards. And what might this look like? So we obviously have some factors that we looked at. Can we predict enrollment? We'll probably lump some of those factors in if we find any significance, or can roll that in. But there's a number of different factors, and I think I mentioned this a little bit, but the number of logins. We actually talk to Microsoft a little bit about, they actually have a student success model within Power BI, and one of their predictive values was the number of logins. So we have talked to some vendors about developing models and what they've seen in the past for other schools. So we have a sense of these are probably factors that'll be influencing here or significant here, but we haven't yet had a chance to develop a model and really run that. So what that might look like in terms of student success is really classifying students based on their risk. So once they're here, how likely are they to progress to graduation? And lumping them together in kind of a profile. So high risk, low risk, and medium risk to allow those advisors to appropriately advise those students on, you know, maybe this major may not be the best. You know, maybe you're not gonna be a pharmacist because you really struggled in chemistry. So those are the kinds of things we can help influence with student success. And like I said, Microsoft actually has a pretty good model. So they're actually So anyway, this is built on Power BI, and because we're already using it, we feel like this is probably a really good format. It is interactive. Like, again, it's having trouble connecting to Power BI, so I apologize. I'm not sure why that is, but what you can see here, what they've done around their student success is really kind of group those categories. So anything in green are the low risk. You've got students in yellow, medium risk, and then high risk. But what you can get out of this pretty quickly, probably not big enough for you to see, but this would be an example too. You can see in the chart in the corner, this is all interactive, and pretty quickly, although it's kind of small, this is these are by high school. So you could interact with this, and you could click on, you know, you can say high school and how many, what is my percentage of students at risk. And pretty quickly, you can see these are 3 different blocks, but certain schools, like this one, has all risk students. So that's where you start to get some real value out of the information and really start to understand, okay, well, this school, this high school may be somewhere maybe where we may not want to recruit because students typically aren't successful from that area. So like I said, I think Microsoft's got a good model. We actually reached out to Microsoft to see what this would be in terms of costs, and it was way out of our budget. But I think we can easily replicate this once we have the model in place, and then it's just a matter of kind of bringing in those factors and visualizing it in a way that makes it useful for the end user. So that's basically all I have. Like I said, we've got a good baseline, I think. We've, over the last few years, have really built a base for us to build upon. We've got a lot of the technology, the staff in place, and now it's just a matter of taking that data and transforming it into information that can be easily digested by people, either through visualizations or, you know, through reports that really make sense, so that they have some actionable insights, and that's really the key in what we're looking for in the future. Cool. Any questions, or should I turn it over? Yeah.
Does your department do any kind of external environmental scanning, you know, in terms of new program development or anything of that nature?
Yeah, so one of the things that I left out, we actually just contracted on a database, which is from Gray & Associates. And basically what that database has is exactly what you're talking about. So it has market data from the BLS. It has number of prospects or inquiries by program. It links all of the programs back to a zip code, so the federal zip codes, and then it gives you a program scorecard. And so what we actually just went through an exercise a couple of weeks ago using that database to identify our top possible programs, or where we have an opportunity to kind of look at new programs. I think we identified, I think the goal was to identify about 12, and I think we came up with about 24 that were identified just based on their scoring, which again is based on market data, salaries, the number of prospects. So they kind of take all of this, either public information or proprietary databases, mesh together, run their model, and then they give you a score.
That was great.
Gray Associates, yeah. So that's the first piece, to look at new programs. But there's also value in having that. Nobody really wants to talk about it, especially on the academic side. But program prioritization, you can really kind of find those programs that might be struggling because they're either not getting enough students, or maybe the salary doesn't match up, or maybe the market doesn't support it anymore. So because we started with the new programs, because that's a little bit easier, but I see that probably down the line as being one of the ways that we can also utilize that database. Yeah.
I think especially when you're looking towards student success, some of the indicators that you selected as potential components in the regression equation are existing characteristics. So is that the primary goal, to look at existing characteristics? This is where I'm going with this, is because about there's some really interesting research coming out of University of Maryland and lessons etc. looking at non-cognitive success factors. So out of the scholarship and literature around scholarship and who are the students who are most likely to be successful. So some of it's about these predefined characteristics coming in. So what was their high school like? What was their major? Then also programmatically, what are the support mechanisms and systems that you can introduce into the environment that are likely to further enhance success? So curious if you're thinking about that at all, or is that kind of a second phase?
I would think that's a second phase, and I think that's more about where we are with collecting the data. So, I think where we started, let's grab some of the factors that we know, and like I said, we talked to admissions and enrollment management. Let's kind of look at these and see if any of these have any predictive value, because we know we have those. And in that particular case, we were trying to predict from the admitted students to enrollment. So we were really focused on, okay, what are the things that we collect and have on hand when they are admitted? Because the model is no good if you don't have the data. So, but yeah, I think we'll expand on those factors. And even with the student success, that was certainly not a complete list, but some of the factors that we found, well, we haven't tested them yet, but we found in just talking to some of the vendors and what are the factors they've used in some of their modeling. But yeah, I think that's a great point. I think there are some things that we definitely need to dig deeper on. Yeah. Yeah.
Will you be agile enough to adjust to something like that? Yeah, so the question is, how quickly can you adjust to the research?
That's a good question. I think when you have the model in place, I think you can adjust pretty quickly. My concern is about, with the 2 developers that we have on staff, if we're agile enough to just get the data in our system in a format that can be extracted by the analysts. So in the few weeks that I've been in the role,
Okay.
it's one of the first things that I've noticed that we might need a little bit more help on. But once things are tested, you can continue to add factors, and you can continue to, and that's another piece too. And one of the reasons that I'm looking at Rapid Insights is that you can quickly do the analysis. With SPSS, it takes time and training. You have to understand the statistics. You have to understand what numbers are relevant, which ones are significant. RapidMiner, a little less learning curve, but that's one of the things too. With on the analyst side, that's kind of in the back of my mind too. We need to be able to, because turnover is always a big issue. If you lose somebody, there's a lot that just walks out the door. You know, so getting people up and trained quickly and trying to match that with a tool that will allow us to be a little bit more agile. But on our technical side with the developers, that's something that I've been really thinking a lot about lately. I don't know if we'll get more positions or if that'll be the path, but I think that might be a little bit of a vulnerability.
Sorry to mention.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right. No, it's a good question. It's just, I don't have a good answer yet. Yeah. You ready to switch over?